Morning, and we're going to continue on the new convention card, which
Do you have another one? I left that one at
I
home.
don't have one.
I think I do.
Get one last time. Take a picture of it.
What are you looking for? The new convention sheet.
The convention card's been updated.
I got a number of them here, how many need one?
New one?
Well, I think it's pretty new.
No, what we need is the
There's a
new
new one
format.
that ACDL put out.
Oh, that,
And I left that one at home. Everybody
Can I
said,
take a picture
teasing
of
me,
this?
good morning, Bob.
May I?
Sure. Sure, go ahead.
I'll take a picture and send it to you.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, we're going through the new convention card, and where we are is on 2 bids, right? And pretty much everybody plays 2 clubs is their big bid, right? And I think we already talked about that. So we're on our way to the other 2 bids, which almost everybody plays is weak. And the standard thing that people write on their convention card, it's 6 to 10 points, and it's almost always a 6-card suit, but not always. And not always 6 to 10. That's the problem with the convention card. You can't make a convention card we could write everything down on, right? So, but the standard is 6 to 10 and 6 cards. In 4th position, of course, whenever you're thinking about preempting, you don't want to go down in 4th position, right? You just pass the hand out. So don't take a negative score. You would just pass in 4th position. So in 4th position, it's generally 10 to 14 points. Generally, because people play all kinds of ranges in 4th position. Yeah.
Jeff, especially if you're at the top of that range, if you pass it out, I always find that you're gonna get the bad board because you should have probably had the contract and didn't bid it. Do you find that true? At least 12. If I don't open up with 12.
Oh yeah, but basically, if you're in 4th position, if you have 10 to 14, you should open it.
Oh, you should.
Yes, that's when you
Okay.
would open it.
Okay.
In the first 3, it's generally 6 to 10. In 10 to 14, though, you don't want to go down.
Okay.
Let me just finish that. One more thing is, the other thing you always keep in mind in 4th position, do you have the spades? Because if you have the spades, you are a lot less likely to be outbid. If you don't have the spades, you're opening the door for them, right? Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
So you would do it with you could do that in 4th position with a 5-card suit if you got 10 to 14. That means you're concerned about it.
It's a good question because I'd say generally not, but if it was a good enough 5-card suit, sure.
Okay.
Like if you had ace, king, queen and 2 others, and you had like 11 points, you don't have a game, right? Your partner passed. So you could just open that at 2. So that's what you're always thinking. Your partner passed, and you control things. One of the things that people get wrong all the time is I never open a week 2 if I have a side 4-card major. I hear that all the time. It's always wrong, but people still say it.
So it's not something
No.
you don't recommend.
No, if you have a 4-card major and you have a 6-card minor, I'm not saying you always open the 6-card minor. It's kind of what the conversation we just had. How good is your 4-card major? If you have a 4-card major to the ace king, yeah, you'd be dopey to open your 6-card minor at the 2 level. But if your 4-card major is to the jack, which I see a lot, right? And people tell, well, I have a 4-card major. Good for you. Basically, you should open the 2 level. So it depends on the quality of both suits. Like I sent out a hand for people who get the stuff that I did just recently where the robot had the 6-card spade suit to the ace, king, queen, and a 4-card heart suit to the jack. and they made a bid to show both suits. Why? You really think that the 4-card suit to the Jack is going to be the winner? When you have a 6-card suit to the Ace, King, Queen, it's almost self-sufficient. Like probably the most you're ever going to lose is one trick, if that, even if your partner has nothing.
Is that the one where they ended up in hearts?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah, I
ended
read
up in
that,
hearts,
yeah.
and that was goofy. It was a goofy bid. Like
Right.
you're showing, just if you were just a beginner, what are you showing? If you have a 6-card suit to the Ace, King, Queen, and a 4-card suit to the Jack, you think you need to show both of them? And the other thing is, when you have a long, good suit, you think your partner's going to bid it? How can they? You got all of them and the high ones. Your partner's not going to bid your suit for you. So it's just goofy. And it's the same kind of thinking here. Take a look at the quality of your suit. Sure, if you have a really good 4-card suit, don't open 2 of a minor. But if your 4-card suit is ratty, you open that 2 all the time. So it depends on the strength of the suit. It's just not an automatic. And one thing that I had to say to you, Cheryl, on the thing that you talked about, usually it's to your advantage to enter the auction before the opponents. There's an advantage of bidding first. It's like anything, you got to go first, you got to communicate something, and now they got to bid over you. So it's an advantage. So a lot of times you have a choice, well, it's kind of on the borderline. There's a lot of borderline hands, right? You could open it 1, you could open it 2. And a lot of people squirm around, and what they do is they pass. That's the worst choice. If you're on the borderline between a 1 bid and a 2 bid, pick one of them. Don't pass. That's one of the Jerry Helms quotes, who writes in the bulletin all the time, like, look for a reason to bid, don't look for a reason to pass. Mm-hmm. It's always harder to get in later on. Like there's sometimes when you would wait, but not many. Most of the time, if you're thinking about getting in, get in. And if your problem is, well, I don't know if I should open to 1 or 2, and it's not clear, and a lot of times it won't. There's a lot of close hands, like the one that you sent. Mm-hmm. And pick one. Pick one, or take your chances of never being able to show your hand.
Jeff,
Okay,
Jeff,
yeah,
6-card minor, 4-card major. If the 4-card major is lousy, then you bid your minor.
you
But
bet.
if you have a 4-card Ace, King, Queen, Jack.
Even Ace King, if I had a
Ace
4-card to the Ace
So
King.
then you would
right.
open that 4-card and,
No, I still wouldn't open it, but like I would,
oh,
I might
bid.
open 1 or something.
Okay, gotcha.
6-5 come alive.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But if it's a
That's what
5-card
Barbara
suit,
said.
that's a good thing. If you have a 5-card major and a 6-card minor, almost always open the 5-card major.
Yeah.
You're looking for that 5-3 fit. And there's an advantage of hiding your 6-card minor, because most of the time if you have a 6-card minor and a decent hand, where are you going to want to play?
No trump.
No trump. You don't want to play in the minor. Minor doesn't score well enough. So
But Jeff, that example, that hand that I sent you, I
Yeah, that
mean,
was a hard
6
hand.
diamonds and 5 spades, that meant I only had 1 heart, or maybe it was 2 clubs and 1 heart. Neither of the other 2 suits had any stoppers.
yeah, but if your partner
that's
has some
scary.
stuff, yeah, well, and that's why you
was
hide
scary.
your. That's
have
why.
a
That was
partner.
scary.
That's why you have a partner, and that's why you hide your other suit, because sometimes they'll lead your other suit for you. And but you're right. That hand was particularly hard, and since spades was the other suit, Adam Parrish was willing to. Hopefully, I'll be able to show my spades later. Well, maybe. Like it's not a clear. Some hands are not clear what to do with. You just take a view of what you think is going to happen, and you run with it. Oh, the other thing is, don't squirm around, right? If you squirm around before you do stuff, you're telling your opponents that you have a problem. you're also conveying unauthorized information to your partner, but you're probably helping the opponents more. And you're more likely to find yourself doubled if you, it's like raising your hand, say, I got a problem here, now I'm gonna bid. Now I'm thinking about doubling you. What do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna get doubled because you just told me to double you. Okay, third seat.
Mine is online, it's pretty hard for everybody to see me.
Third seat. And this is my favorite spot in third seat when I'm not vulnerable and they are. And this sounds counterintuitive to you, but the worse up the hand I have, the more likely I am to bid. Why?
Interfere with their communications.
Yeah, but why now?
When you're vulnerable?
No.
No, they're vulnerable.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
vulnerable.
yeah, because
Okay.
it's because of the vulnerability.
Yeah,
You're not
because,
you can't get as hurt as bad, and if they got to think about going up because they're vulnerable.
the point is, the worse my hand is, the more sure I am to have at least a game, right? My
Yeah.
partner already had passed, right?
Yep.
If I have 2 points, almost for sure they have a game, right? My partner can't have any more than, say, 11 points. That means they have 27. That means they have game. That means they have a vulnerable game. That means they're gonna get at least 620, and they might even have a slam. So, to get me, they have to set me at least 4 and be able to double me for penalty. The chance of that happening is possible, but you can't worry about the worst thing that could ever happen to you. Like if you always sit there, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen, and I'm gonna make sure it doesn't, you're gonna be a bad player. Because people will take advantage of you.
So what do you
Like me.
think
Yeah.
the worst, I mean, what would you bid on the worst third seed hand? 4 points or an ace in the
0 points.
0 points?
If I'm sitting here with 0 points, and that means my partner has at most 11, that means they have 29. They're cold for a vulnerable game. And they might even have slam. And to hurt me, like I said, you have to be able to set me 4 tricks, and you have to be able to double me for penalty. That's not gonna happen very often. Will it happen some of the time? Sure, lots of things happen some of the time. So the worse my hand is, the more likely I am to do it. And what that means, if I have a 5-card suit and no points, you can be hearing it. Like it's no problem for me opening, kind of back to your point, a 5-card suit at the 2 level, and I'm doing with 0 points because my hand is sufficiently terrible that I want to make it as hard for you to get to your game as possible. That's what I'm there for, right? But, so anyway, that's what I'm there for, to make life miserable for my opponents, right? I'm not gonna give them a clear path. Not only that, the better they are, the more important that I do that. Because bad players, a lot of times they'll get into the wrong contract by themselves. Good players, if you give them a clean runway, almost always you're gonna get into the right contract. And you're gonna get a bad board. That's how that's gonna work. So what you want to do is cause them a problem. So I have a 5-card suit in 3rd position, like Bob said. I'm out there at the 2 level. I don't care how bad my hand is. I don't care how bad my suit is. I'm getting in your way. And if I have a 6-card suit, what do you think I'll do?
3.
Exactly, I'll bid 3. Like the thing with preamps, you push it as hard as you can, which it's almost never correct to raise your own
Listen to
preamp.
that, Cheryl.
Yeah. We have to talk.
It's almost always incorrect to raise your own preamp. If you want a preamp, you push it as hard as you can the first time. If I'm sitting there in third seat with 0 to 2 points in a 6-card suit, and I'm not vulnerable, right? And they aren't. They're risking, and most people, they don't even have, they're gonna find it real hard to double you for penalty anyway. Especially if you have a 6-card suit, because it makes it unlikely that one of them is gonna have a trump stack, right? When you got 6 of them. When people double your contract for penalty, it's usually because what? They got your suit.
Yeah.
So anyway, the weaker I am, the more sure I am, and that's why. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on doubling, you know, let's say up to the 2 level, maybe even 3, but I find many times I end up pushing them to game. And maybe they would have stopped if I stopped at the 3 level, because, oh, well, we didn't have to, and stop. That's what I see frequently. What's your thoughts
It
on that?
happens some of the time, but it doesn't happen most of the time. Mostly you want to push them up.
Okay.
That's the thing. Like Zia, the famous Pakistani player, world champion. Number one thing in match point bridge, push them up. Get them to the 3 level. Yeah, get them as high as you can. Will they make it sometimes? Sure. It kind of, there's a lot, and that's a good point, because a lot of things that work some of the time, yeah, they work some of the time, but it's still bad bridge. Like one of my favorite stories was, I was playing with Aletha, who is by far the best defensive player in this county. There's nobody even close to her, right? Of all the things she did well, that's what she did best. And we're playing against somebody who's basically horrible, right? And she's on defense, and she leads out our ace, unsupported ace, which is almost always incorrect. Anyway, she leads it out, and it works out well because her partner has the king, and they end up getting a ruff, and she explains to Aletha how she loves to lead out aces so she could see the dummy. Well, that's true, you get to see the dummy. That's the advantage. The disadvantage is you're usually throwing away a trick when you lead out an ace. Like you're making the declares king good and maybe the king and the queen good. So, but it worked on that hand, and so this horrible player was explaining to Aletha how good it was to lead out the ace. And all Aletha said to her, well, it worked on that hand. But the bottom line is, bridge is a game, by doing the right thing. It doesn't work all the time, it just works most of the time. And you want to push them up. You want to get them to a level where they're going to go down.
Question.
Yeah.
When you say 3rd seat, that means that no one's bid yet,
Right,
right?
right, yeah. That's a good point, yeah, that's, I'm in 3rd seat, so I could,
You can start it off.
yeah, so I could, and the weaker I am, more like, if I have a 5-card suit and I'm horrible. Conversely, if I have a 5-card suit and I have like a 9-point hand, I'm just passing. Like I'm not trotting out my 5-card suit when I have a 9-point hand. Like we might set them. There's no guarantee that they have a game. Here, when I got nothing, it's pretty well guaranteed they have a game. Stop them. Okay, another thing that people surprisingly get wrong because it's basic bridge. If I open a 2 diamond, 2 hearts, or 2 spade bid, if my partner bids 3, that is not an invitation for game. It's never an invitation for game. I'm just raising the preempt. And when you raise me, what does it show? What do you got?
Probably 12 points.
Has nothing to do with points.
2 trumps.
3 trumps, that's the answer. Like law of total tricks, right? I'm showing 6, right, unless I lied. And you got 3. That's 9 trumps, we should be able to take 9 tricks. The number of points you have doesn't make any difference. Well, I bid 3 if I have 5 points, I bid 3 if I had 12 points. I'm raising the preempt. The idea is, and the weaker I am, the more important it is that I bid, right? It's back to, what are preempts there for? To get in their way, right?
Fair.
Interfere, don't, and preempt against good players who are gonna get into the right contract unless you get in their way. So it's not an invitation for game.
Will you do that if they opened in third seat? If they open
Oh, yeah,
two spade, or two hearts in third seat, you're gonna say 3 hearts?
you bet.
Okay.
Like, because I don't know that my partner is busted, like he might have a standard 2-heart bid, right? That's what they're gonna have most of the time. But occasionally, they're gonna have that, and even if you do, they're probably not doubling you. Because nobody has a heart stack if you have 3, and your partner bid a week 2. Now, if you do wanna be looking for something, the standard is the number of trumps you have plus your high card points should be at least 17. So you could have 3 trumps, 14 high card points. So now we're looking for game based on how strong I am, maybe even slam. And you ask with the 2-no trump bid, right? That's always the forward going bid. 2-no trump is not the play. 2-no trump is to ask the week 2 bidder to describe their hand. And we're gonna get into that in a
I
minute.
thought that was 2 separate things. I do 15 plus points to know asking for a feature. And you say 17 to ask?
17 between points and
Length.
length.
Okay, to do the feature.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, the feature is one thing you could do. That's not my favorite, but okay, you can do feature.
So what do you do if you're not wanting a feature? What do you really?
Yeah, we'll get into that soon. Let me just kind of get to that.
Okay.
Okay? But anyway, 2-no trump is 100% forcing. It's asking either for a feature or some description of the hand. So that's 100% forcing. And then if you look at the convention card, there's something that says new suit, forcing or non-forcing, right? The standard is it's forcing. So if you had a good suit and a good hand and you want to hear from your partner again, you could bid a new suit. And that's what most people do. I do that when my partner wants to do it. Given a choice, I don't do that. Like for me, I like the new suit to be,
Non-forcing?
yeah, it means,
That's what Ron and I do.
it means, I really don't like your suit, and I have my own long suit, and I don't really want you to bid again.
Right.
So that's how I like to play it.
Yeah.
But
That's what we do.
if you do that, you have to check it
Not
on convention court.
non-forcing.
Yeah, and you have to alert it. It's alertable if you do that. Now, so, but anyway, those are the 2 choices, and the standard is it's forcing and you're making your partner bid again. And,
So check both of them then.
no,
Oh, no.
Check one or the
just the
other.
first.
yeah,
Okay.
check one or the other, yeah. And if you don't check anything, it's
Forcing.
forcing. And back to Carolyn's point, a lot of people do it with, anytime I have 15 points, I'm gonna bid
Do not trump.
2-no trump. And it's a common treatment, but think ahead before you do that. If you bid 2-no trump, where are you gonna be playing if you have a singleton or void in your partner's suit?
Well, they have to, if they don't have an ace or king, they'll re-bid theirs, but
Right,
then,
but now you're at the 3 level.
yeah.
Now you're at the 3 level, and you have
Well, I
50.
wouldn't bid that, I don't think, with a singleton, I don't think. In my
Well,
head.
that's my point. you're exactly where I want you to be. I wouldn't do it with a singleton or a void because I might not be able to reach my partner's hand,
Right,
and
of course.
and I don't want to be playing a 3-level contract or even a 2-level contract
And you
with a-
can't get to the two no trump hand.
Yeah. with the weak 2 bid.
Right,
I'll be playing at the 2 or 3 level for completely out of my 15-point hand.
Yeah.
That's unlikely to work well. So, you were on the right path there. Once if you have, and that gives you the 17, you got 15 high card points and 2 in my suit,
yeah,
bid 2 no trump.
yeah.
And then, now we're gonna get to your thing. There are 3 things ways you can describe your hand over 2 no trump that people use that make sense. And these are them. We're gonna start with the most common one, which is feature. And that is the most common. People have been playing it forever. You bid 2 no trump. And a feature means you're showing an ace or a king. Typically, outside your suit, the most you'll have is 1 ace and 1 king, right? You open the 2 bit, what are you doing, right? If you have an ace and a king outside there, right?
You open the one bid.
Yeah, open a 1 bit or
Yeah,
don't open at all, like how bad is your suit that you're opening it, right? So the feature is asking for an ace or king. If you should have 2 of them, you would generally bid up the line, right, the lower one. It should be rare that you have both outside your suit. That's an ace or king outside your suit, right? If you don't have an ace or king outside your suit, it's just like you said, you rebid your suit. The decision that you need to make is, do you rebid? If you ask for a feature, if you have one and you're on the bottom, do you show it? Right, you're on the bottom. The person who opened the week 2 bid is at the bottom of their bid, but they do have a feature. Do you show it?
yeah. Then the other 3 no, then
Well,
no?
you could play it that way, but like, I'm a big Larry Cohn guy, as most people know. Like, he does all the standard stuff. I almost never vary from Larry Cohn. Larry Cohn says, don't show your feature in front of the bottom.
Oh.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, you mean
like-
the preemptor?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got 6 or 7 points, but I got an outside king.
But you're on the low end.
Yeah, I got the king in my suit, and I have another king. That's my hand. Larry Cohn is not showing the feature, and why doesn't he? Right?
Yeah.
If your partner's going to drive the game opposite your 2 kings, he or she can go even if you don't show the feature. If his hand is that great, right? Because all you got is 2 kings, right? If you're already opened by week 2, you know I got something here. If you have like a 20-point hand, go ahead. If you don't, forget it. Like if you have like a 17-point hand, we're just gonna go down, right?
So he would, preemptor would pass and y'all playing in 2 no?
No, never pass.
Oh, okay.
You rebid your suit.
That's yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah, passing is not an option, right?
Yeah.
They shoot you for passing.
Yeah.
New partner.
I just want to make sure. I
Yeah, you
understand.
just rebid. But that's a good point. You rebid your suit. That's
Okay.
when you have
Yeah.
nothing. So anyway, that's the most popular one. The second most popular one, and it's becoming more popular, is August. So you opened the week 2 bid, your partner bid 2 no, right?
Oh,
Right, so they're asking you to describe your hand. So you're not playing feature, you're playing August. And the bids for August are this. 3 clubs. Weak hand, weak suit, right? I have 6 or 7 points. And I don't have 2 of the top 3, and I don't have a really good suit. Like I might have the king, I might have the ace, I might have king 10,
yeah,
something like that, but it ain't good. So 3 clubs, like, hey, I bid, but I don't got much. You're on your own, all right? Again, this says nothing about clubs. These are all artificial bids, right? And they go right up the line. And it's why it's so popular. You would think people would be able to remember. You'd be surprised to know there are people who can't.
that's why I haven't,
I'm trying to
yeah.
memorize them, looking at them, yeah. it's
Okay,
kinda-
3 diamonds. I still have a weak hand, but I have a good suit. Like this might be like a 6 or 7 point hand, but my 6 or 7 points are the ace king or ace queen of my suit, or king queen jack of my suit, something like that. King queen 10. So I have a good suit, but it's the rest of the hand is nothing, right? 3 hearts. Well, good hand, weak suit. Like I got 9 or 10 points, but my points really are in my suit. Maybe I have the king in my suit, but that's it. So I might have an ace and a queen outside my suit and a king in my suit, you know, that kind of thing. That'd be good hand, weak suit. 3 spades, you tell me what's it gonna be.
It's gonna be a good hand
And a good suit.
and a good suit.
Right, yeah, so it's not, it's an easy structure and you give a really good description of what you got, right? These are all artificial bids. And there's one more, Reno Trump. What do you think that means?
I already have the notes from last time.
What?
I have the notes from last time, I can cheat.
Okay, what do you have from last time?
Ace, king, queen of my suit.
Correct. Ace, king, queen of my suit. That's standard August.
So that all it says, 3 notes, have the ace, king, and queen of my suit.
Yeah, the suit I opened 2 of.
The week 2 bid.
Oh, the week 2,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Week
if I open,
2 no, 3 no, you have ace, king, queen.
yeah, and now you know exactly my hand. If I have the ace, king, queen of my suit and I opened at the 2 level, I have nothing else, right?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times, your partner will play in 3 no if they could reach your hand. You know, because if they have a couple of your suit, that means you have 8 of them. Most of the time they'll split 3-2. They'll run 6 tricks.
And what's the very beginning of that? Maybe I missed the
Here.
very beginning of the,
Like 2 of something,
You need 6
week
cards
2
for
of
that.
something, right? It's all week 2, right?
Okay.
Week 2 of something,
so they,
then 2 no trump, and then,
okay, so it's the answer to the 2 no trump.
correct,
Okay,
Yeah.
got it now.
and the response.
2
All right,
preempt. then
that's
2 no.
where we're at, right? And that's the same thing with feature, right? It was the answer to 2 no trump. That's what we're talking about now, the answer to 2 no trump. Now, Larry Cohn changed this. He plays modified August. And I'm gonna show you what that is. And that's my preference, right? If I'm given a choice, this is what I would play. You don't always have a choice, right? You have to negotiate with a partner unless you come with a gun, right? But short of that, you have to negotiate with your partner. And but given my choice, I play modified August.
Are any of those other bids alertable?
They're all alertable.
Okay.
Because they're
So it's
all artificial.
alertable. Okay, okay.
Right? None of them, like even when I get 3-0 Trump, I'm not volunteering that we play 3-0 Trump. I'm showing you this.
Okay.
They're all alertable. Modify. And again, the stuff that I teach you, none of this stuff is stuff that I dreamed up, right? It all came from people who were, you know, world-class players. And Larry Cohn, of course, is a world-class player, and he's known as the guy who teaches people how to play. He's in the bulletin for years, right? He writing down what the bids mean. And he didn't modify it too much, he just gave it more structure. So what he has, 3 clubs, it's still a weak hand, but instead of it being a weak suit, it's one of the top 3 honors. So so it's still a weak hand and a weak suit, but now it's very specific. I have 1 in the top 3 honors.
Yeah, that suit.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the suit you open 2 in, right?
Oh, in the, okay.
Remember, this is in response to 2-0 Trump again, right? Same as before, I have 1 in the top 3 honors. By the way, you can't use this unless you have 1 of the top 3 honors. You can't have 0, right? Okay, 3 diamonds is a weak hand. And you tell me what I'm gonna write down next.
Same thing, one of the top 3.
2 of the top 3.
2 of the top 3,
Oh.
right? Can't be 2, the same thing, right?
Okay.
2 of the top 3 honors.
Okay.
3 hearts. Cut just like before, strong hand. And you tell me what I'm gonna write down.
One of them.
1,
1 of the top 3 honors.
Smarty.
well, it's right there.
Okay.
And 3 spades, strong hand, you tell me.
2 of.
2 of the top 3 honors. And 3-0 Trump is still his king and queen.
So strong hand on the 3 hearts and 3 spades means you're at the top
The
of
top of your range, right? I got 9 or 10 points or a really good 8, right? It's always, there's no clear dividing line, like there's always a gray area, is this good or not, you know, it's, take a look and you still have to use your judgment.
Right.
So anyway, I like this because it's real clear
No.
of what it is. What do you give up to use this?
Showing her what your feature is about all you give up.
Yeah, that's with anything with August. What you give up, you can't open a week 2 without at least 1 of the top 3 honors, right? You gotta have at least 1, right?
Right.
Okay.
Here, I don't need any, right? Okay, and that, by the way, and that's the advantage, and I'm gonna make one more point and then I'll let you go, because I got the signal. But the thing with August, it lets you open a week 2 with a ratty suit, because you could let your partner know. if you play feature in first position, you should have a good suit. And again, it's good as in the eye of the beholder. Maybe that's two of the top three. Maybe you would do it with king, jack, 9. So anyway, typically in first or second position, when you're playing feature, you should have a good suit. If you in third or fourth position, it loosens up with feature where you can get away.
Just won the jackpot.
Says,
Yeah, sounds like it.
you got your appointment, so you were through.
Probably. But, okay, anyway, that's the thing with feature. You gotta have a decent suit to do it with. With August, you do not.
When you're vulnerable, where is the break point between weak and strong?
Yeah, that's, same with non-vulnerable. Like 9 or 10 is always strong, 6 or 7 is typically weak. 8 is, take a look at your hand and you decide.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for coming, I'll see you next one.
Thank you, Jeff.
Do you need this or could I have it?
Yeah, wait, I think I have another one there. You can have it.